The Fanatics jerseys are finally here. Earlier this morning, we got a video showing off the new Fanatics jerseys in full, going over all of them, and are they good? Are they bad? Well, honestly, they look like Adidas jerseys, which is basically what we've been told since the announcement that Fanatics was taking over, a couple of months back there. So it's really not too much of a surprise here. Of course, there are a couple of minor differences in between the Adidas jerseys and the Fanatics jerseys, but honestly, it's not really all that much. Let's go ahead though and pull one of these jerseys up. So I have the Toronto Maple Leafs one here. This is our first official look. Well, it's kind of like our third official look at a Fanatics jersey. We've seen them a couple of times, but yeah, this one here, of course, is so similar to an Adidas jersey. I think 99.9% of people would not even recognize the difference. The only difference that you can really see in this picture right here is the dimples on the shoulder. And I know those are going away, and I know some people are upset about them, but honestly, I really don't think it's that big of a deal for most collectors. The reason I say that is because with most collectors, they just collect the Adidas Indo jerseys, the ones that you buy at the NHL shop and everything like that. They don't really go out and buy those made in Canada jerseys that you can only get through the team stores. Well, at least with Adidas, of course, that has changed with Fanatics, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but I don't collect made in Canada jerseys, not because I don't want to, it's just because they're kind of expensive. I barely even notice that there are dimples on the Indo Adidas jerseys most of the time because they're not really debossed like they are on the made in Canada ones. They're just completely different. They're so much deeper on the made in Canada ones. So yeah, those people complaining, the made in Canada people, who collect those jerseys, complaining that they are going away, I understand that. With people who just collect Indo jerseys, I mean, of course, everyone does have their own opinions, but at least for myself, I don't really see it as that big of a deal for those Indo collectors. As for any other changes, they did actually change the NHL logo on the front of the jersey as well. I thought that they were going to stick with that chrome one, although I know that they did say that it was going to be holographic, but I thought it was going to look basically the exact same, and it is very, very similar, but there has been a couple of changes to that NHL logo. The first one being the material. It almost looks like it's swapped a little bit, so the material that's in behind the NHL there, and then the material outside of it, it almost looks like that's swapped from the Adidas one. And then also, like I said, it is a holographic NHL shield instead of it being a chrome one, so it's a little bit flatter, I would say, or at least that's how it looks like to me. But yeah, overall, I think the change is fine. I don't know if I would really say I prefer one over the other. I think I would kind of have to see it in person to really tell. If you really pushed me to say which one I liked more, I probably would say the Adidas one just because I like it sticking out a little bit more, but of course, like I said, I'll have to see it in person to really kind of decide on that. And the last change is the Adidas logo on the back going to a Fanatics. Technically, there is one more change, or at least one more change that they're saying is a change, but it's not really one. They say that they've added an additional layer of fabric now inside the lower sleeve to reduce wear from friction against the board. So basically, reinforced elbows is what they've done, but that's not a new thing with Fanatics. That is something that basically every single made in Canada NHL jersey has had for like years and years now, even going back to CCM and probably even before that. Like they've had them basically forever, as long as you're buying the pro version of the jersey. They did not have them with Adidas Indo jerseys, but they did have them with the made in Canada Adidas jerseys. At least as far as I'm aware, I was looking at pictures and they look like they have the reinforced elbows, so I'm like 99% sure. I would be surprised if Adidas didn't have those. I'm assuming that they are just saying that it is a new addition for them because it's just an extra thing that they can advertise with the made in Canada retail version. So like I kind of talked about, Adidas jerseys, they did not make those made in Canada jerseys available for fans, or at least really very easily available for fans. I would say you still can buy them through the team store if they are just selling team issued stock, or game issued jerseys or game worn jerseys, if you want to go that far. But at a retail level, those jerseys were never made available in an Adidas. They were made available with Reebok and CCM and everything like that again, but just not with Adidas. So at least for me, that is a massive thumbs up to Fanatics, and I think a lot of hardcore collectors will say the exact same thing. With the people who are maybe a little bit more casual, I really don't think those people are going to buy the retail made in Canada jerseys, because at least from what we saw with the Fanatics catalog leaking, I think it was a couple of months back, apparently those jerseys are going to be around $425 American, so they are going to be very expensive. But of course, that is basically what the players are actually wearing. It's not like the Indo Adidas jerseys, it's not going to be at that level. It is going to be super high quality. It's going to be made out of the same warehouse that they're making the actual game jerseys. Now, all that being said, the one little hang up I would say, at least for myself personally, is that we have not seen that Adidas level jersey from Fanatics as of right now. If you guys do not know, there is basically going to be 4 tiers of Fanatics jerseys. There is going to be the Authentic Pro, which is these made in Canada retail jerseys that you can buy. The next level is the premium level, and that is your equivalent to the Adidas jerseys. So we have not seen those as of right now. I hope that there is no changes to those jerseys. I don't think there is going to be any changes to those jerseys because everything that, you know, at least Fanatics has said so far, and at least with these retail made in Canada jerseys, it does look like they are taking this very seriously and they don't want to really make any changes. They want to kind of keep the status quo because they know people really like the Adidas jersey, so they don't really want to make too many changes, and I don't think that they will with that premium level. On top of that as well, one thing that I am very happy about is it does look like they are keeping those prime green logos with the 3D embroiderment. We can see with this Oilers jersey right here, that is a prime green logo, so I'm very, very happy about that. That was like one of my biggest worries with these Fanatics jerseys, is if they were kind of going to cut down a little bit on those prime green logos and make them kind of go back to the Addy Zero and the Climate Light logos, which weren't bad logos, but they just weren't anything super special. The prime green logos were. So I'm very, very happy that they are keeping with that. They are sticking with that because, yeah, those logos are fantastic. The third level of jerseys is the breakaway. So that is basically the jersey that I'm wearing right now, the old Fanatics jerseys. Yeah, I've never really been a massive fan of these ones here, and that is mostly coming down to the logo itself. I just don't like these shiny, flexible logos. I think they call it like their Flex Fit material or something like that, or their Fanatics Flex. I don't remember exactly what they call it, but either way, I hate it. I just don't think it makes the jersey look good. I think it makes the jersey look really cheap. I like the rest of the aspects of the Fanatics jerseys. Like, I think the fit is a lot better than the Adidas jerseys, and I do like the material itself. It's super soft, but the logos and like the numbers is really where these jerseys just completely lose me. I hate them so much. The only ones of these Fanatics jerseys that I actually don't mind is if you get a jersey with a specialty logo, like a felt logo or something like that. Those jerseys tend to be pretty okay because the logos themselves are actually felt. They do actually produce the logos kind of like they would on the Adidas jerseys. It's maybe not the exact same, but it's fairly close, and they're not the terrible quality like they are with these logos right here. So like, I have a Buffalo Sabres Heritage Classic jersey. That one has a felt logo, and I actually really like that jersey a lot. I bought it for 60 bucks Canadian, and I'm pretty happy with it. This one here, if I bought this one for $60 Canadian, which I didn't, I bought it way before I started collecting jerseys, so I spent a lot on this one here, unfortunately. But if I bought this one here for 60, I would still say that's probably too much money. So yeah, just really it comes down for the logos with the breakaway jerseys for me, and it looks like they aren't changing anything. So yeah, probably not going to really be buying the breakaway jerseys because I don't really like them a ton. And the fourth tier of jerseys is the practice jerseys, so they are going to be selling those at a retail level as well. From what we've heard of those practice jerseys, I don't think I'm going to like them whatsoever. They're supposed to be a random logo that says like property of, and then the city name at the bottom, and I don't like that whatsoever. I don't think the practice jerseys really look that great, so I'm kind of surprised that they are going to try and sell them at a retail level. I wonder how well they're actually going to do, because at least in my opinion, from the little bit that we've seen so far from them, I don't think they are going to sell very well, but I could be wrong on that. So yeah, having 4 tiers of jerseys should be pretty interesting. I hope it doesn't really get too confusing for casual fans, but I think they'll be able to pick it up fairly easily. At least I hope so. You know, it's not like this is a new thing. It's not like we haven't had multiple tiers of jerseys in the past, so I think most people will be able to pick up on it. Another thing that I do want to take a look at here is this graphic from sportslogos.net. So it's showing off all of the home jerseys that we're going to be seeing for the 2024-2025 season. A couple of interesting notes. Of course, Boston is going back to their old home jersey. We've known that. We can see the Utah jersey, you know, not really quite in a template. It's still a little bit of a template, but it's, you know, an actual looks more like a real jersey that we're going to be seeing, so that is pretty neat. Of course, the Anaheim Ducks and the LA Kings have been left off this graphic because we don't know what their jerseys are going to look like yet, but both of those jerseys I believe should be dropping today. I'm just looking at my notifications now, and I have a couple of people that are like sending me something from the LA Kings, so I'm assuming that those jerseys did drop while I was recording this, so I will be making a video on those jerseys right after this one right here. But apparently with the Fanatics jerseys, they'll be available to purchase starting in September of 2024. I've seen, you know, kind of that being a question for a lot of people is when are we going to be able to buy the Fanatics jerseys, or at least when are they going to go on sale? And it's September 2024. That is when we're going to be able to see them. The last thing that I do want to touch on here is just the overreaction to Fanatics taking over as the official jersey manufacturer. I've seen some people just say the wildest things. It is really, really crazy. And it's not like I love Fanatics, because I don't. I really do not like them whatsoever. Like I mentioned, I do not like these breakaway jerseys. I hate their hats. A lot of their hats I think are so poor quality. The design is terrible on a lot of them. And I've seen some people say they do like the Fanatics hats. I personally don't. But on top of that as well, I don't like the fact that they are a monopoly. I think that's a terrible thing just in general. Monopolies suck. So the fact that they are a monopoly basically in the sports world in general, not just in hockey or in, football or whatever, it's the entire sports world. They are a monopoly. It's terrible. I do not like it. So it's not like I'm a Fanatics fanboy or anything like that. It's not like I'm trying to glaze Fanatics. I really am not. But some people, I think, are just really overreacting to this news. I've seen so many people say I'm stopping collecting altogether and I'm going to buy just other jerseys. I'm not going to collect any new jerseys anymore. And if you're saying that because you don't want to support Fanatics and the monopoly and that aspect, I am 100% with you. That is really, really cool. I support you. Go for it. But if you're saying that because you think these jerseys are going to be awful quality, either you haven't really been paying attention or you just kind of are just saying things, honestly, because literally from the get-go, we've been told that they're going to be the exact same as Adidas jerseys. They're making them out of the same factory. They're going to be using the exact same materials. It's not going to be any different. And we have the jerseys now, and yeah, it's basically what we've been told from the start. So I don't really understand that point of view, at least for some people. And I know some people will say, well, what about the whole MLB situation? Fanatics look terrible in that. But that wasn't really Fanatics' fault. That was mostly on Nike. They were the ones that gave Fanatics the materials, that, told Fanatics, okay, this is how we want you to produce the jerseys. Fanatics just basically fulfilled that order. That's all they did. So it wasn't really on Fanatics. With the NHL, they do actually have full control of their jerseys. They've already said they aren't going to make any changes, at least for the first couple of seasons, which is, probably a good thing. But yeah, even with this announcement here and even them showing off the jerseys that look the exact same as the Adidas jerseys, I've still seen the comments saying that these jerseys look awful and like people complaining about them, saying that they look weird when they literally look the exact same as Adidas jerseys. So I think those people there are just complaining. And I know in general people, just don't like change. One thing that I actually stumbled upon not too long ago was people reacting to Adidas taking over as the official jersey manufacturer back in 2016. So I want to read a couple of these comments here because they remind me a lot of Fanatics comments. So this one here says, brace yourselves guys, if there's anything like the college jerseys, we're in for a long ride. I chose a bad season to start collecting jerseys. I need to complete my collection completely. Those two specifically, I've heard a lot with Fanatics jerseys. Looks like I'll only be buying older jerseys from now on. That one as well. These are all comments that I've heard about Fanatics taking over, but these ones are about Adidas. So it is kind of funny to see, because I think if you did poll people back in the day asking if they were excited about Adidas to take over, most people, at least from these comments here, seem like they would say no, or at least, slightly optimistic. But if you ask them to rate Adidas jerseys right now, I think a lot of people would be super positive on it. And that's because I did do a community vote on my channel the other day asking you guys to rate Adidas jerseys as a whole out of 10, and a lot of people picked the 7 to 10 option. 91% of them out of 141 votes, 8% said 4 to 6, and 1% said 0 to 3. And if you're asking why I did the poll like this and not just did a numbered list from 1 to 10, is because I can't do that many options. So I thought this is the best way, and it basically boils down to, were you happy with them? Were you okay with them? Or did you not like Adidas jerseys? I think it's basically the same thing, just a little bit of a different way of looking at it. So yeah, overall though, it does seem like most people were very happy with Adidas jerseys. The couple of comments on that post there were saying the only real kind of downside to Adidas jerseys was the fit of them, and I agree. That is basically the biggest downside to Adidas jerseys, is I do not like the fit of them whatsoever, and that's what a lot of those comments were saying. So I do think that a lot of the reason that I've seen so many negative comments is just because people don't like change. I mean, Fanatics' reputation on top of that does not help, because it's not like they're known for, kind of making a lot of high quality stuff, and they've had a lot of quality control issues, but they do also produce a lot of that stuff. But nonetheless, they do still have a lot of quality control issues. So I get those kind of hesitations with Fanatics for sure. I definitely understand that, and that's what I'm nervous about as well. The things that I'm nervous about with Fanatics is, the quality control, of course, but that's always been an issue even with Adidas as well. Adidas has had quality control issues, specifically with their sizing. They've had some just crazy weird jerseys with their sizing where it'll be the exact same size, at least tagged as the exact same size, but the measurements will be different. They've had crooked logos. They had those Jack Hughes, Devil Stadium Series jerseys. So they've had their quality control issues as well. It's not like it's just a Fanatics thing. I will also say as well is I am nervous for the years after, when they start to implement their own stuff. That is when I'm a little bit skeptical, and we'll kind of have to see exactly what they do with their own materials and their own implementation of whatever they're going to do. So I am kind of nervous about that, I will say, and I'm also a little bit nervous about the design with Fanatics as well, because, you know, with Adidas, their designs were really, really nice. They had some fantastic designs, some of the best looking jerseys that we've seen in the NHL. With Fanatics, like I said, I really do not like their hats, so that does scare me. Like, my friend and I were actually just scrolling through the NHL shop, just looking at hats. We were scrolling through 10 pages of hats, and I probably only picked out like 3 or 4 Fanatics hats that I actually liked. The other hats that I did like were like Mitchell and Ness, which technically is still under the umbrella of Fanatics, but yeah, I just really did not like a lot of the hats on those page after scrolling through 10 pages. Like, it's not like I picked out a lot of hats that I liked, so the design portion I am also quite nervous about, but I am also, you know, pretty optimistic about the retail made in Canada jerseys, the jerseys not being that different from Adidas jerseys for the first couple of seasons, and I'm hoping that they do fix the fit of Adidas jerseys. That is one thing that I really, really wish. I hope that they don't have the bell cut. I hate the bell cut. I think it looks so terrible, especially with the smaller sizes. So if they change that as well, I will be pretty happy. But overall, I am fairly optimistic with Fanatics, at least for the first couple of seasons. So I do think that people are overreacting to Fanatics taking over. And I will say that I was part of the issue as well when that news first dropped. I made a video and I was like completely freaking out, but I have tried to calm down a little bit. I've tried to look at it in a more optimistic way. And I think, you know, like I said, we're going to be fine. It's going to be all right for the most part. I don't think the NHL is going to allow Fanatics to ruin these jerseys, and it's not like Fanatics wants to do that either. You know, there's a reason they bought the rights to make these NHL jerseys. They want to make a profit. They don't want to screw these things up. So yeah, I think we'll be fine. I think people are overreacting, and yeah, for the most part, pretty happy with this news here. Just seeing those made in Canada jerseys, I think they look good. So overall, I am pretty positive on them. But I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys like this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, follow me on all my social medias. Like I said, I'll be getting a Kings video out, and I'm assuming the Ducks are also going to release their jerseys today, so I'll probably get that video out today as well. Got a lot of content on the channel today, so yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.